your time to start. Ain't never tried with mine. Proved it a million times for even though I found your pretty ass out of mobile. Ever since I caught you on that ice, you got no chill.
It is your girl Des. We are back again for another video. Before we slide into the video for today, be sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll know the next time that I post another video. Now, without further ado, let's slide right into the video for today. All right, girl, so let's chat, okay? Because you know what? I love to run my mouth. I don't know why I haven't, why I'm like late to the party with doing these type of videos, because I love running my mouth. I used to do them a few years ago, but I stopped. We ain't here to talk about that because we back now. Anyway, as you can tell from the title, I am here to teach y'all today how I started setting boundaries, and I'm still learning to set boundaries for myself when it comes down to like life, love, friendship, relationships with your family. When it comes down to everything, like learning how to set boundaries for yourself, right? I feel like this, and I feel like I've always felt like this. I'm a very authentic person. I like to show up in spaces as my authentic self, right? And I feel as though if I am not surrounded around people who want that authenticity out of me, then I am surrounding myself with the wrong individuals. And that could be friends, that could be family, that could be a love like type relationship. If you want me to show up as anything else as my authentic self, other than my authentic self, I am in the wrong setting, right? And Holy Spirit, lead me in this message so that what needs to be said will be said. So in this space in my life, I am, and it's crazy because when you're trying to explore vulnerability, that causes for you to be uncomfortable. And if y'all did not go back and watch my church girl chat, I am trying to rekindle my relationship with God and just have a better relationship with him in general, right? And so I was operating in a lot of spaces out of ego, right? Or out of pride. So if something did get to me, I would act as if it didn't, because I don't want you to know, or I don't want you to feel like you're getting up under my skin, or whatever the case may have been. In 2025, I said I don't want to be in settings with people who feel like me expressing how I feel about something, or me being in a vulnerable space, is me doing too much, right? And so that's the first thing. The first thing is understanding that boundaries are for you, okay? Boundaries are not for anybody else. Boundaries are for you. I got so tired of being the one that loved so deeply, and then when it came down to people showing me that in return, I was always disappointed. And so this is something that I'm still learning. I'm on a path to learning it right now as we speak, right? But what I had to learn how to do was know the things that trigger me, right? Because we all have past traumas, whether it's in a romantic relationship, a platonic relationship, something with your family. We all have past traumas, right? And you went through those things to grow through those things, right? But a lot of times you may be triggered by certain things. So I feel like it's very important to know and understand the things that trigger you, right? Okay. Once you get to that point, I feel like the people in your surroundings, you have to get to a space of being vulnerable with these people, but you don't just go in all willy-nilly and being vulnerable. These people need to show you. You need to vet these individuals so that you will know that they have the capacity to deal with your level of vulnerability, right? And you only need to be vulnerable when you've gotten the discernment from God, when you've gotten the green light from God, right? Because if you're vulnerable with the wrong people, they could use it for bad. So the first thing is understanding that the boundaries are for you. The second thing is listening to God and discerning his voice and knowing when it is okay for you to be vulnerable with people, right? Then the third stage is you actually tapping into that vulnerability and knowing how to communicate, right? And put a name on things, right? So if it's a romantic relationship, you don't have to give a 10-minute speech to let it be known that you're setting a boundary with something, right? For me, when I'm dating a person, I do not like when men use a certain language. Like, I do not like when a man refers to a woman as a B, or, you know, anything outside of that woman's name or child of God. I don't live for that. So when I'm in communication with people, which now, hopefully from me evolving and growing so much, I won't even be in communication with people like that anymore. This was a good minute ago. But I make it a thing. Hey, as a woman, I find that very disrespectful for you to speak of another woman in that way. I can't control what you do because you're grown. But when you're talking to me, please refrain from using that language, right? And I just set a boundary there. But I set a boundary there because I don't like the way that feels, because I don't like when women are being disrespected. So now what I have the opportunity to do is see if you're really meant to be in my life by how you respect those boundaries, right? So people will try you. So let's say, you know, me and this individual, we are in conversation and the B word slips out again. I'm gonna have to talk to you later. I'm not going back into what that boundary was anymore because I already told you what it is. Once you cross that boundary, the access that you have had to me in this setting is gone. And if you continue to do it, you will no longer have access to me at all. How about that? Yeah. So this is just how I learned how to set boundaries. And you have to, especially in the very, very beginning, but just in general, you have to be firm when it comes down to your boundaries. Because if people haven't known you before to operate out of a certain space, they have this thing where they are prone to treat you the way that they did prior to you setting these boundaries. So if you really want there to be a real deal change, you have to set the boundaries and be firm on the boundaries, even when it comes down to yourself, right? Sometimes, a lot of the times, me setting boundaries for myself is to help myself, right? Because you have to have some level of self-discipline even within yourself. So back to the authenticity piece. I feel like in 2025, you need to embrace who you are, right? If you are a person that's big on the principalities of situations, if you are a person who, you know, may seem or come off a bit more emotional, wear their heart on their sleeves, that's the type of heart that God gave you. Now you need to discern and vet out the people who you allow to have that type of access to you, to tap into that side of you. But if you cannot show up as your authentic self in these settings, you should not be in these settings. That goes for any and everything in your life. If you feel like you got to play small at any point to make anybody more comfortable, or suppress things that are deeply in you to make other people comfortable, then you need to reflect on those relationships and reevaluate them potentially, okay? So, the first rule that we came up with today. The first rule is to understand what the boundary is for. The boundary is for you, right? The boundary is for you because you have established at some point that, hey, I don't like this. I don't like the way this makes me feel. So when I'm in communication with people who have a tendency to do this or do that, let me go ahead and set this boundary, right? So I set that boundary. Then I listen for the discernment of God to know, right, if I can be vulnerable enough with you to let you in and understand why this is a boundary for me. They don't necessarily have to understand why either. Like, unless it's somebody that's your, you know what I'm saying, your A1, you don't have to go into detail. I would actually prefer that you don't go into detail, because if you're dealing with a manipulator and you try to go into detail on why a boundary is the way that it is, they're going to try to find a hole in there, some way to manipulate you, right? So don't. Stand firm on what you say. You don't have to explain anything. Just learn how to discern the voice of God to know if a person has shown you that they are capable or have the capacity to reciprocate the energy that you give in a certain space, right? So yeah, y'all know I don't like to talk y'all heads off for too long, but I just wanted to come on here because I'm like, what should I talk to them about? This is something that I'm actually implementing in my life, in my relationships right now. Just boundaries, you know, just boundaries. I feel like as you grow and as you evolve, you need boundaries. You need boundaries for work relationships. You need boundaries for family relationships. You need boundaries for friendships. You need boundaries for a romantic relationship. You need boundaries. Boundaries are there. Boundaries are in place for you, and they are to protect you at every cost, okay? So if you guys like these type of videos, please be sure that you comment down below. Let me know, hey sis, you touched on a little something right there. I like that. I like what you said. Over here, like I always tell y'all, we are a family. Y'all speak to me, I speak back. Please don't be shy. If you did not know that I am your new favorite YouTuber, okay? So stay connected. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay connected and become a part of the family. Anywho, I love y'all. This video will probably be dropping later on in the week. Whenever you see it, know that I love y'all, and I pray that you have a great remainder of your day. Bye.